Hello prep learners, this is Miss Sang here again. Today we are going to explore the problems and solutions of your big question. Now you would have developed your big question in Tuesday's inquiry lesson. This is my big question, and my big question today is, how can I help the native animals in my area? Now everyone will have a slightly different big question. I've noticed that some of you are really interested in recycling, some in possums, native animals, the ocean, lots of different things. But today, Miss Sang's going to explore native animals. That is my big question. So, first we need to discuss the problems and the solutions to your big question. So you might want to have a discussion with mum and dad or big brother and sister and have a chat about what problems and solutions relate to your big question. So here, let's have a think. Problems. Now, some problems I can think of for my big question is my backyard safe for native animals? Because I always see animals like native birds and possums around my house, so I'm going to write that down. Is my backyard safe? What's another problem native animals can have? Do they have food to eat? And another problem I can think of is, do they have somewhere to live? Now, if you have a pet dog or cat or rabbit, they wouldn't really have a problem about food because you would be feeding them, and they wouldn't have a problem with where to live because you look after them. However, for native animals, they don't have owners, so I think this might be a big problem for them because there's no one to look after them to make sure they are safe. So what are some solutions, and how can we look after our native animals in our area? One I can think of is, to keep them safe, keep your dog on a leash. Now, who has a dog or a cat? Now, I think a lot of you might have dogs. An important thing to do is to keep your dog on a leash. Why? Because they can sometimes run around when they don't have a leash, and they can go and harm the native animals in your backyard. They might chase after the cat, they might chase after the birds and the possums in your yard. So the next pet that you might have is a cat. So it is very important that you keep your cat indoors. Why? Because again, they can go and climb up trees and chase the native birds, possums, and other native animals around your backyard or around your home. Now, do they have food to eat? Now, I know sometimes we can't help but feed the animals, but it is very important that we do not feed wildlife. Why? Because they need to be able to hunt for their own food, and when you feed them too often, they will become very dependent on your food and they will lose that skill of hunting or finding their own food. How else can we keep them safe? Do not litter, and Do not litter and keep the lids on your bin closed. Now, this is very, very important because the native animals can climb into your rubbish bin and start eating all the harmful things in there, like bits of plastic and bits of trash, and they can even get stuck. They might have bits of plastic stuck around their necks, or the plastic can float away into the drain, into the ocean, and again, the poor native animals might accidentally eat those things and not realize that it is very, very harmful. Another thing is if you find an injured animal, make sure you call your council. So you might have to go and tell mum and dad and ask them if they can call your council if you find an injured animal like a possum or a bird or a snake. Very important that you don't go up to them and touch them and try to catch them yourself, because they will be very scared and they might even try and bite and scratch you, which is not good. We should call the council because they can find a vet or someone who can actually treat the animals properly. So there you go. We have explored some problems and some solutions to our big question. Now again, this is Miss Sang's big question. Everyone will have a slightly different question. Good luck!